I don't think we have the music. Let's see here.
I don't see it saying we're live yet.
Music away. Give it. All right. All right, brother, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, Fat Guy Little Sips.
Fat Guy Little Sips coming right at you on Tuesday afternoon. Well, it's actually, it is afternoon actually. All right, we're here for episode 11 with me, Fat Guy Little Sips, and my boy,
Hank Danger!
And on this episode, we're going to be doing a little taste test, a little game show, and a little just talking some crap, you know what I'm saying? We're just here to have fun and do some stuff. So what are you drinking right now? You got to get a little taster up front, right?
Well, we have the last week's, if you guys want to go check it out, last week's review, the Old Forester 1920. We're starting with that today.
And I'm starting with a little Jack Daniel's 12 year.
Well, aren't you fancy with the Jack Daniel's 12 year?
Yeah, I saw somebody review the batch number 2, and I was like, man, I'm never gonna get batch 2, and so I felt kind of like sad. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hit batch number 1.
How'd you?
Oh my gosh, it is smelling good, dude.
How hard was it to get? How hard was it to get?
Well, I had to trade a bottle of Jack Daniel's single barrel strength rye and a bottle of Old Weller Antique 107 for it.
Jeez.
So I think from a secondary market, I've seen the OWA, the 107, like at maybe 150. And I've seen the Jack Daniel's single barrel strength rye at about 100. So I put this as probably like, you know, just value wise, probably like 250, 300. I think I overpaid, but I was waiting all year for it, and Pennsylvania is so slow. I was like, for like 3 months straight, I was going every day on drop day. And I was like, you know what? It's never coming. And then the one day I was like, should I go? And I was like, nah. And so I woke up like maybe 5 minutes late, and then I looked on my phone and somebody says, oh, Jack Daniel's 12's dropping. I'm like, crap. Just flew into the store as quick as I could. And I was like number 8 in line, and they only had a case of 12 and a case of 10, and they allowed each person to buy 2 of each, so it only went through 3 people. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like, you would think that they would have said, hey, how can we make, you know, the 20 people in line happy, you know what I'm saying? But no, they're like, well, we're just going to sell as much as we can. It's like, so, again, what really pissed me off, though, is the guy in line. He was, I think it's second in line. He was sitting there, and he goes, what do you have today? And they're like, we got Jack Daniel's 10 and 12. And he's like, do you have any Blantons? And I'm like, you're seriously, like, asking for something that you can get every month. I mean, it's hard to get everything, but, like, this is like once a year that this is going to be dropping, and you're sitting there going, I'd really like Blends. I was like, yo, I got one back in the house. I can hook you up. And it was like, no, it's like, and he's like, okay, well, I'll just get 2 of both. And you're sitting there going, you know, he's not even going to drink them. He's just like, you know, trading or selling.
Well, now I got to try some Blends. We got to create the release the taste schedule for the year. I'm thinking.
Okay.
At some point, maybe Blanton should be on it.
Well, I mean, I got one. You know.
I talked to the liquor store by my house, and they don't do the raffle anymore. They do a bundling. Okay. They make you they only sell it bundled, right?
Okay. Yeah. So they make you buy the Blantons and then something else that's halfway decent or something.
Correct. So I was asking for the Eagle Rare and things like that, and they were
sure.
They were like, yeah, we get our deliveries on Thursday, but on Saturdays we bundle it up with X, Y, and Z, and you have to buy the entire bundle. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's usually not a bad bundle. You might have to get a Texas whiskey. You might have to get a Texas whiskey or something. But...
we'll talk about Texas whiskey. The larceny I had to bundle with some Kelsey Creek. They forced me to bundle it for the larceny.
Oh, really? So they forced you to bundle the larceny?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they didn't put the larceny on the shelves.
That's crazy.
That was in the back room. But yeah. So what are you drinking this week? What did you drink this weekend?
You know what? I didn't drink anything this weekend. It was a dry weekend, I'd say. I'm not telling a lie this time like I did last week.
I know, right? You started out with that and then folded.
Right. But no, this weekend my son came home from college. We just hung out a little bit.
When's he 21? When's he turning 21?
He's only like
19, 18.
He's only 19 now. Yeah, his birthday's in November, so he hasn't hit 20 yet. So, yeah.
So he gets his own whiskey podcast at 21? Is that
No, he hasn't even tried a drop of whiskey. He's like, he's a good guy. He thinks like you got to follow the rules of the government. He can't drink until he's 21.
That's why I like you, Corey. Go ahead.
But he did say that he is going to Germany in like 2 weeks. France.
That's the legal age is 18.
There you go. And he said, you know what? I might try a bottle of wine in France and a beer in Germany.
A beer, yeah. You got to try it.
So I was like, okay, well, go ahead and do what you do. Get you a beer and a pretzel because he actually was he took German in high school because he wanted to go to Germany for the school trip because he wanted to get a pretzel.
I'll never forget my when we went to, I was a slacker in German in high school, and we went to some German competition, and I just wanted to go to Chattanooga. It was in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
At the college, and so me and this ironically a German exchange student, we went and played pool in the college dorms, right? Well, all the smart German folks were in the competition. Well, what happened is somebody came down and went and said, "Is there anybody from White Station High School who can go compete because we can't find the team?" And we were like, "We can do it." We won second place, man.
Well, I mean, you did have a natural speaking German with you, so
he was an exchange student. It was weird. He was from like Austria or something, but we got second place because they couldn't find the smart people. It was awesome. It was great. All right, so we have some news. We have some news going on today. There is a whiskey that I'm actually kind of interested in. That's why I put it on the board for today. Hold on, let me get that breaking news. Come on, man. All right,
we're gonna have to come up, and I'll tell the people we're gonna have to come up with some new song material because some of the free songs that we were using started to get hit on YouTube for copyright issues. So
the website said they were free from whatever.
And they are free, but they still want to claim that there's a copyright there in case, I don't know, maybe we sing over their song and now we make their song famous. Yeah, I don't know how it works, but it's just them trying to make sure that they can get some money if anything happens.
Let's make their song famous, man. Ready?
Let's get a pretzel and journey.
All right. We do have some news. There is a whiskey coming out. I read about this week from an article this week. Let's take a look. We got these barrels. What are these barrels? Do you ask?
Does that say Chattanooga?
They say Chattanooga, sir.
Okay.
Chattanooga debuts a new bourbon in finished white port casks. So the big thing is everybody's finishing their whiskey in red port casks, right? That's the new thing. Yeah, okay. See a lot of that in the stores. I don't really understand what the benefit is or what the difference in taste is. I hope for red port casks. I was hoping you could help me.
What you're gonna get more of a lighter type of grape versus one of those like dark like grapes. You know what I'm saying? Like the red port is gonna be like, here's a dark whiskey kind of thing. So it gives you that like that grape, that date, that kind of raisin type flavor. And I think the light grape, or again the white port, is probably going to give you more of a citrusy type of grape probably feel. A little more cotton candy maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Chattanooga is a whiskey that one of our mutual friends over the course of the last couple decades introduced me to, and it's a fantastic, like, years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, just introduced me to, and was back when it was not very popular.
Right.
Was fantastic. So anything that has to do with Chattanooga, I'm always interested in.
Yeah, and actually, I went there for work one time, and we actually did a distillery tour. It was a very small store, but they were claiming that they were like the first distillery in, I don't know, in Tennessee that was, that could make bourbon or so. I forget what it was, and I was like, "What about Jack Daniels? What about?" But I was like, I'm not going to worry about that. I don't know, And it was like, so they had some kind of history to talk about, but it was pretty good. But they are known for their high malted rye, so it's kind of, I'm sorry, not rye, but malted barley content, and it is pretty good. I got one of their founders editions, 11th year anniversary founders. If you ever want to come by, we can open it up. I haven't opened it yet.
I'll see you in like 12 hours. The actual it's going to be a blend of 3 bourbons actually. They're high malted wheat,
right.
Single barrel 91s recipe, and bottle and bond vintage series. So
okay.
They're gonna it's gonna be a blend of whiskey with those 3 things and white port cast finishes. So
yeah, I will say this. I mean, they are very experimental. I think when I was there, they were on like experiment number 35 or whatever they want to call it. So they come out with some crazy flavors throughout the year. I think when I was there, I didn't buy it because their experimental flavor was a Scotch type of American malt. And I was like, this was not my flavor. It had a lot of like peaty smoke kind of taste to it. And I was like, well, I'm going to pass on this. But they did have a lot of other ones that I was like, man, I wish I could have tried that. And they were like, well, it sold out during the first day. And it was like, okay. One was like a limoncello. Cotton candy they had. It's like crazy the stuff they make. And I think they were talking about how all their experimentals are made in like some big Solera, like Oloroso sherry cask. It's like, it was bigger than I am as far as like arm to arm, like top to bottom. It was like one of those huge, like, I don't know, 150 gallon barrels that they said it's just like their own small batch. They just throw a lot of stuff in there, and it just always stays in there, and they keep pulling out stuff. But it's like what they call probably a barrel that just keeps being used. So it's kind of like an infinity barrel of their own.
Yeah, the right now though in whiskey, the white port barrels they represent about 10% of the overall port production. So it's only gonna be about $60, and it's gonna be available in Texas. So I'll have to figure out a way to teleport it to you Star Trek style.
Well, I can Chattanooga. Actually, I can go to Ohio to pick it up. So
it's only gonna be.
Tell me when it's available. I'll try to go to Ohio and pick it up.
It's only going to be available in 10 states: Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Wisconsin. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you might have to grab me one then.
Oh yeah. I love it. Chattanooga for they've gone up a little bit in price over the last 3 or 4 years, but for a $30-$40 whiskey, you can't. Even their base, you can't really beat it.
Their 91 is not as good as their 111.
Their 91's not bad, I
like it, but I really like their 111.
I do enjoy their 91, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's interesting
What's
whiskey.
the
That's
news?
whiskey that piques my interest. Hopefully, it piques yours. We have a new game today.
New game.
New game. So, as you know, my man here is very knowledgeable in the ways of the whiskey and the Force, both whiskey and the Force. So,
well, some people say I'm just like kind of knowledgeable, but I talk too much shit, and it sounds like I think I know everything. Kind of like last week when we were talking about bottled and bond. You were like, "Oh, 1924 is bottled and bond." I'm like, no, and and it was 1897 that Prohibition started, and that is the Whiskey Row series that Old Forester has branded as their bottled and bond. But
let me just tell you why you were wrong last week. Gotcha. Okay.
That might just be last week. I don't know if I'm going to be smart this week.
But we do have, speaking of whiskey nerds, boom. This game is called Stump the Whiskey Nerd. This nerd right here, guys. All right, so the way this is played, we have 5 questions. Oh, we have 5. We're going to do a review, so I want to take this one down. We have 5 questions. We're going to see if we can stump the whiskey nerd. I created this game from scratch about an hour and a half ago, so let's get into it and see if we can't stump the whiskey nerd. All right. First question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Whiskey must mature for at least X amount of years to earn the title of Irish whiskey.
Irish whiskey.
So whiskey must mature for at least how many years to earn the title of Irish whiskey?
Is it just fill in the blank? No
Oh,
options?
sorry, my bad. You have 3 options. A, 3 years, B, 4 years, or C, until it gets drunk and starts fighting a mailbox.
And I'm going to go with, I don't know this for a fact because I'm not big on Irish whiskey, but I know Scotch is 3 years.
But you're a whiskey nerd, right? I mean, you're a whiskey.
I'm gonna go 3 years because Scotch is 3 years, and I figure they try to do kind of similar patterns with Irish and Scotch whiskey.
Bing, bing, bing. 3 years is correct. Very good. Very good. Very good. All right. Next question. You're 1 for 1. Are you ready?
Hey, well, can I ask you a question?
Oh, what? Sorry, go ahead.
So, how long does a bourbon need to age before it's called bourbon?
$7 years.
No.
Oh.
All it has to do is touch the inside of a virgin oak barrel that's been charred for, 2 seconds, and it can be called bourbon.
Oh, well, okay, fancy.
So
I'm not the whiskey nerd. I'm not the whiskey nerd.
I know, but your answer's C on the other one until it gets drunk and people start fighting. I was like, well, if that was bourbon, that might be right.
Fair point. All right, question 2. All right. What is the freezing point of whiskey? What is the freezing point of whiskey?
From the city of Vanderbilt. Let's see. I should know this.
Don't you have a degree in something chemically?
I have a chemical degree, yes. Let me see. Before I get the answers here, freezing point of, water, which is, about 50% of what alcohol is 0 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to have to go less than that. So let's see the answers.
All right. Oh, well, I'm a little scared. You might get this one. 0 degrees Fahrenheit, which is close to negative 12 degrees Fahrenheit, or is the freezing point of whiskey when your wife comes home in the garage, when your wife comes into the garage at 3 a.m. and stares at you and the bottle?
I haven't been in situation C too many times, so I'm gonna have to go with B on this one.
I've been in situation C.
Yeah, but in Texas it ain't cold enough to freeze.
We spend a lot of time in our garages at Texas though, because we don't like the cold. All right, so your answer is which one?
B, negative 12 degrees Fahrenheit.
You are correct. You're 2 for 2.
Oh, actually, you said Fahrenheit, right? So
yes.
it freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So 0 would have been a plausible answer.
I know. That's why I put 0. That's why I put 0.
I mean, but I didn't even think about that. But I'm glad it was -12. Shoot.
It's -12. That is correct. I don't have a graphic for the correct answer. So
now, do you think that freezing point would change if it is more percentage alcohol than water?
So reading about this a little bit, about an hour and 45 minutes before the show, yes, if a higher proof whiskey will have a lower freezing point than.
There you go. Good.
That's true. All right, are we ready?
Yes. So my professors at Vanderbilt can say I still know a little bit about chemical engineering.
I'm sure they're all either proud or dead right now. All right.
Probably dead.
We're old, man. All right. Next question.
All right. Question number 3.
After opened, what is the longest you have to drink a bottle of whiskey before it goes bad?
And so what is your definition of bad? Like it gets a bad taste, or it's like, you can't drink it no more?
Okay, the internet's, it goes bad. So it's no longer at par. So there's a range, all right? So they say there is a range if you store a bottle of whiskey at the right temperature in the right place, yes, it'll never go bad, right? But after you open it, there's a range that they give, that they say, hey, after this, the whiskey could have gone bad. What is the longest you can wait before you drink that bottle of whiskey?
Go ahead.
All right. Is it A, 1 year, B, 2 years, or C, it don't matter because your boy's in town?
I'm going to go with C. It don't matter because your boy's in town.
It's 2 years. It's B.
But from an actual perspective, it's not going to go bad because the alcohol is the alcohol. It's not going to really go bad. The flavor might change a little.
Exactly. It's going to impact the taste so much. So they say when you open it, it's 6 months to 2 years is the most you can have a. So
now I will say this, because a lot of whiskey tubers talk about this, and they say, well, what's the best time to, drink it, like you're talking about, and all this. And some people say, so you can see this bottle here. See, it's I don't know, probably 60% gone. And they say, you know what, you got a lot of air in here, so you're going to get a lot of coverage, and you're going to get more, I don't know, dissipation of flavor and so forth. So they say when it gets low like this, you move it to another bottle where there's it's almost full, so a smaller bottle, and you'll reduce some of that aging, or not aging, but going bad. So right. if you like something and it's really good and it's short of the bottom, but you don't want to waste it, just rebottle it into a different smaller bottle where you have less air coverage.
That's actually pretty interesting. So I wonder if anybody actually ever does that.
Yeah, they do.
All right. Next question. Why can't you store whiskey on its side? Why can't you store whiskey on its side?
Well, without even having the answers, I'm going to say it's going to probably be because you're going to have contamination with the cork, or in the case of Evan Williams, the plastic top. But let's see your answers.
All right. Number A, the alcohol content will cause the cork to erode and the whiskey to leak. That kind of ties into what you were saying.
Correct.
B, all the alcohol will collect towards the cork. As you lay it on its side, the alcohol will go towards the cork. Or C, your girlfriend will know that you had too much the night before because the bottle will be on its side. So,
I'm going to go with A on that one.
You're going to go with A? You think you're going to go 3 for 3? You're 3 for 3!
Well, I was actually missed that one, right?
Oh, never mind. You're 3 for 4.
There you go.
There you go.
See, not only am I good at engineering type things, I'm also good at math.
Well played, man. Well played. I forgot the answers. I made them a couple hours ago, so
no, that's fine.
Your Oh, this is the last question. All right.
Yeah. 5 questions.
5 questions. Number 5. Let's see if you can keep it up at 80%. Are we ready?
Yes.
Frank Sinatra was buried with which whiskey? Do you know off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I'm going to say Jack Daniels because he actually has his own signature brand of whiskey called Jack Daniels Sinatra Blend. And it's actually a pretty nifty way they do it. It's your regular Jack Daniels, but they actually put grooves in the actual barrel to increase the amount of coverage of the charred surface on the actual whiskey, which supposedly adds a lot more flavor.
I'm going to say this out of love. I didn't know you knew that. So let's take a look. Johnny Walker was A. Jack Daniels was B. And C, correct. He was buried with your grandma's heart.
I'm going to go with B.
You Jack are correct. Daniels. You are 4 for 5, sir. 4 for 5.
Man, back in my day, in 80 was a C, but now 80 is a B.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's
88? What, 88? What was it, 85 or 88?
86, remember?
Yeah, 86 was a B.
Yeah.
80 is not a B.
It is?
No.
90 to 100. 90 to 100 is an A. 80 to 90 is a B.
I'm gonna have to scratch out my daughter's report cards in the future. I'm not putting up with that. 86 right. Is a B.
60 to 70 is a D.
No, 69 was an F, man. No, once you get below,
the best number in the book was the F back in the day.
No, I'm not putting up with that. No.
Well, that's how they go, man. They always want our people to win.
No. I have younger kids than Mr. Fat Guy Little Sips here, so I'm gonna rectify that. I'll just scratch out out some report cards.
Say, bitch, please. She got an 86. That's a B.
All right. So what are we doing this week? What is the main purpose of our podcast here today?
We're going to be tasting some Evan Williams bottled and bond. I've never actually had it. So
are you serious? Let's talk about that for a second. Are you serious?
I've never had it.
You've never had Evan Williams bottled and bond?
Nope. I know my boy. What is it? T-Mac 2020 or whatever the hell his name is.
Willie NASCAR. Willie NASCAR.
Yeah. Willie NASCAR. And I know you swear by some Evan Williams. And actually, there's this guy at my work that loves Evan Williams as well. And so, you know what? I decided Evan Williams would be a good representation. I've never tried it. It is bottled in bond. So, again, has that 4-year age statement. It is bottled at the same distillery and in the same season. So you can actually just look on the side of your whiskey here, and it'll tell you the rules in bottled in bond and what year it was around. 1897. Look at that.
Yeah, my question is, how have you gone this long without having Evan Williams bottled in bond? That's
You know what? I do have a disease called the nose up disease, where if I'm looking for something and it only costs $15, it must be something wrong with it.
It was 1897, sir. 1890. But that's what people want. They don't always want to buy, the.
No, I'm with you. So right. I'm here to give it a shot. And if you saw my video from, I think it was Saturday. I actually got.
Yeah, I was about to ask. What's going on?
I actually got a 750 and a 1.75 liter because I have a new char oaked barrel, little 2-liter version. It's about like this big. That is now aging 2 liters of Evan Williams. And I'm going to be taking a sample out on Saturday, and then the next Saturday. And then the next Saturday, I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull the rest of it at, 4 weeks? Because most people say 4 weeks is probably the max you want to, double oak something. and then I'm going to do a taste test. And if I pull enough on each of the draws, I might make sure that you get a little hit just to see the differences.
All right.
Okay.
Well, no. Here's the thing. I've had Evan Williams bottle and bond. I mean, I've had all types of Evan Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to look at this. I've never looked at Evan Williams from a nose, from a palate, from a finished perspective. So I'm kind of excited.
Correct.
I'm a little excited to do this. So.
Okay. Now I will say this: like most people in the business say, Evan Williams is probably one of the best. The bottle and bond is one of the best like value whiskeys. Because again. Like I got a 1.75 liter. It was $31.
Really? What's the proof on this thing?
100.
Straight bond. It's not 115 or anything. It's just straight 100. Yeah.
It's bottled and bond. It has to be 100.
Well, never mind. We had that argument last week about the prohibition, which is 100. Which is 115, but it's an ode to a bottle and bond. So
correct.
Yeah, we'll forego that. Watch the last.
I don't think it's an ode to bottle and bond, but it's an ode.
It's an ode to prohibition. Oh my man! All right, watch the last.
Prohibition happened after the Bottle and Bond Act, which is 1897.
When you get to the end of this episode, go back and watch last week's episode. You'll see that discussion. All right, so how's the nose?
It's kind of flat a little bit. I do get a distinct, like, I want to say like a nut smell, like maybe a roasted peanut or something.
I get a little alcohol. I get a little alcohol. I get a little ethanol.
I don't get much alcohol. I mean, mine's been open a little bit. You just opened yours.
I did just open mine. Yeah.
It might just be like the top of the thing. It doesn't. It has like almost no sweetness to it as far as the smell, but it smells kind of like, I would say, like savory a little bit.
I just opened mine like literally a second ago,
Yep.
right before this podcast. Like literally broke the seal. It's a little ethanol, man. Like it's a little ethanol.
Okay.
No. There's no fruit. There's no nuts. There's no.
You don't get any nuts in it?
No.
I don't know. I get something in there.
It's very surgical. Very surgical. Sorry. All right. I'm not impressed by the nose right now.
But it's not off-putting.
No, because What was the whiskey we reviewed in the last couple of weeks that had that ethanol? Was it the last one?
Monarch?
The what?
The Lost Monarch or the Bardstown?
Maybe it was the Bardstown, the one that was very ethanol-y. It doesn't smell any different than that.
Okay.
So, all right.
Try to swirl it around a little bit in your glass, see if that helps. I know you say you don't want like a fancy glass or whatever, but they do say just the shape of the glass a little bit kind of, focuses the smell.
Who says that?
No, I mean, you look at all the books, man. They say it like
the books, the library books.
Hey, I got 2 books back here about bourbon. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God!
No one got it.
Some dude on another whiskey channel probably told you that.
It is. He didn't start on a whiskey channel.
He probably had a bigger beer than me. He probably looks better and
he
younger.
Used to.
Whatever.
He's got a little tie.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little ascot, actually.
Screw that guy.
He's a pretty nice guy, man.
All right, let's go for it.
Okay, let's go in.
That is surprisingly smooth.
It is smooth. You do get the, I can tell it's, most entry-level, like, bourbons or whiskeys are a little harsher, but they're usually around 80 proof. And so it's like, you're like, I don't know what I'm drinking. It just doesn't taste very good. But this, I can taste the 100 proof. It does taste 100 proof. And it does taste, probably, it's kind of I wouldn't say it's complex, but it is hard to point down on exactly what I'm tasting.
It's very
Like,
It's very neutral. You know, it's very.
right,
There's no fruit. There's no nuts. There's no.
right, right.
It is equivalent of if you took 115 proof alcohol or 115 proof alcohol and took out all the flavor. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very, but it's not bad. I mean, it's not a bad neutral flavor. It's just neutral. You know.
I mean, I think you know how some whiskey you can say like, oh, it tastes like an old fashioned or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Or some whiskeys have chocolate. Some whiskeys have that
yeah,
sugar.
yeah. This tastes like like a watered down Coke.
I don't know about
And
watered down. I think watered down's I think watered down's a little too much.
Carbonated too. Sorry.
I think watered down's a little too much. I think watered down is throwing a little shade that doesn't need to be there. Like,
Well, I'm not saying it's watered down in that like the whiskey is like not potent. I'm saying watered down in that you don't get the sweetness. You know what I'm saying? Like the sweetness is tough.
Okay. I agree. There's no sweetness. There's no chocolate. There's no sugar. There's no.
Right.
It's very hospital. It's very.
Right.
I mean,
but I mean, I think if you mix this with a Coke, which probably most people do, I mean, this would be really good, probably.
Oh, I'm a Diet Coke and Evan all day, man.
I want to stay fat, so I don't drink diet.
What do you mean? What is?
I'm saying that you don't want to be fat and you're drinking diet.
I've drank diet since I was 20. I used to walk into work with a 2-liter Diet Coke. You know.
Well, it might be the issue that you're walking into work with 2 liters of something, not really that you're walking in work with a diet.
That's too much Diet Coke. I agree. It's just it's what I kind of expected. It's not a bad tasting. It's not a whiskey to turn you off. It's not a whiskey I would ever want. It's not a whiskey I would ever want without Diet Coke or without some type of flavoring.
Oh, really? I don't mind it. It's like I could see this being like your first whiskey of the night, where you're just like, yeah, I just want to kind of ease into the night and not leave an imprint. Like I did have started off, I had the Jack Daniel's 12, and it was like firecrackers going off in my mouth. All these flavors, the smells. I mean, I could even go back to this glass right now, and it's possibly the most lovely thing I've ever smelled in my life. But this is like setting you up, I think, for a good night. It's like, here, have a little 100.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, now I'm ready, and now you can taste anything because it doesn't like force you one way or the other. It's just like, I'm here. I've acclimated your palate to whiskey. Let's get busy.
So, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a straight shot of Jack Daniels, or would you rather have this?
You know what? I don't like Jack Daniel's Black Label too much.
Really?
Yeah. It has a little harshness to it. Like, I think I get too much of the charcoal on that one.
It's not sweet. You don't get that.
I don't think so. I'd want to probably have this. Definitely this over Jim Beam. Jim Beam is possible.
Oh, Jim Beam's.
It's just something I can't drink.
So, we should put this on the calendar. Have you ever had the Jim Beam 8-year or the Jim Beam Extra Aged?
No, I haven't.
All right, so regular Jim Beam, I'm with you. Like I am your guy. I am anti regular Jim Beam. You put somebody introduced it to me like 10 years ago. The 8-year or the Extra Aged Jim Beam is phenomenal. It is.
I wouldn't go that far. Phenomenal. It
is a better version of Jack Daniel's Black. How about that? I will.
Well, you might be right, but let's put it this way. When Jim Beam was first making bourbon, he decided that there was a good spot in his rick house, and he said, you know what? These bottles of Jim Beam or these barrels of Jim Beam are going to be called Knob Creek now.
I remember the Knob Creek trend. I remember the 2008 to 2011 Knob Creek trend.
No, Knob Creek is still one of the top like premium whiskeys, and it's usually aged. It's usually like a 9-year or 12-year age statement. It's actually for the value. It's pretty good.
They had their okay. So here where I get my trends, right, is from what people bring to parties, right? So going from 2005 to 2020, what did people, first it was Maker's Mark, right? 2005 to 2008 or 9, it was Maker's Mark. And then it was Knob Creek. Knob Creek had its heyday back in 2008 to 2011 or 12.
Okay. And now it's Woodford.
Now it's Woodford. That is not inaccurate. Woodford is now the cool whiskey. It's but Knob Creek was early 2010s, 2011, 12. It was not. It's not that cool anymore.
Well, I mean, I think if you drink it, it does lends you to a different profile than you would see in your Woodford Reserve, Old Forester, Jack Daniels, even the Evan Williams and so forth. It has a peanut buttery type flavor to it that is it's like 100% more savory than it is sweet, which is completely different than most whiskeys.
Well, now I have to try 2023 Knob Creek because I've had Knob Creek since it went out of style. So,
well, if you can get Knob Creek 12,
Knob Creek 12. I'm looking at it.
I don't know if it's in Texas, but it's only probably like $55-$60, and it's 12 years old, and I hear it's pretty good.
It's gonna have to go on the schedule. Oh, I see it. Yeah. Interesting.
And give you like I said, we're here to take you on a journey.
I haven't.
Now they have some single barrel Knob Creeks too. So it depends. Like I got a single barrel, and I think it's too astringent, and I don't like it. And I gave it to somebody else, and they go, "Oh no, this is quintessential Knob Creek, 120 proof." And I'm like, I just can't get down with this. You know what I'm saying? And then I had the regular Knob Creek, and I was like, "Oh, this is much better." So it does, if you do get a single barrel, it does kind of depend on the one you get.
I'd like to put the Knob Creek 12 year on our calendar, man. That's
okay. Well, I'll go around town looking this. I think they had it on sale in Pennsylvania for a while, but I don't know if they still have it. So I'll look and I'll tell you if they got some, and then if they do, I'm sure Texas has it because Texas has everything.
Well, I haven't looked at Knob Creek since 2015, so
I'll tell you.
I like your analysis though. I like your analysis of Evan Williams will start your night. A little bummer.
Yeah, it's not going to push you over the edge any which way. And then once you have this, you get acclimated, and then your friends come over, and then you're like, all right, the whole whiskey cabinet's open. What do you want to drink? And then you can take it from there. You don't have oh, I had something else and it's better than this. This is just standard. It will get beaten by most things, but it's not going to be just shoved under the rug. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I very much agree. So what's your finish score? What's your how's it finish with you?
So I'm going to go nose. I'm going to say a 2.7. Palate probably a 2.9. Finish, I just had a pretty good hit, and I'm still feeling it. I'm going to go a little above average, like a 3.1. For me, it is kind of unique because, most of the other stuff I'm drinking is a lot more flavorful and
yeah, right, exactly.
Loading. So it is different in that standpoint. So I'm going to go 3.2. I'm not saying it's great unique, but it's just a little different. And I think that leaves a total score of 11.9. So what you got?
2.5 for the nose. I mean, nose.
2.5. Okay.
Nose does not impress me.
Yep.
The actual drink is okay. So if 2.5 to 3 is average, 2.7. I mean, I would 2.7.
Okay.
But here's the thing. So the finish isn't bad, right? So the finish.
Right, I agree.
There's nothing
I'm
unpleasant.
feeling it, and now it's starting to hit the Kentucky hug about like 30 seconds later. You know.
Fair point. But the finish isn't. The finish is not disagreeable. You know, it's
right.
It's not a disagreeable finish. Like you want to drink other whiskey. You know. 2.9 for the finish. I mean, I would.
All right.
I wouldn't go into the 3s for the finish, but I would.
Okay.
I would definitely keep it high to the 2.9. Like.
Right. And then uniqueness. Is it unique or it's just like average 2.5?
I would 2.7 unique for the unique. 2.7.
All right, that's 6, 7, 12. That's a 10.8. 10.8 for Paul. Tank Danger. 11.9 for Fat Guy Little Sips. Hey, it was good drinking with you, man.
It's not a bad whiskey. It's just you're absolutely right. Like you called it when you said it was a starter. It is absolutely a starter. I enjoy that. I enjoy that review. Like
right.
It is the first drink of. It is the first drink of the night that I would say, hey, I want to get started. Here's your whiskey. You know.
Right.
That's not bad.
Now I think this is going to be a good experiment in that barrel. Because when I got the barrel,
well, yeah. What's it going to do with your barrel? Like, what from a barrel perspective?
Well, the barrel's going to basically like double oak it, so it's going to try to give it a little more sweetness, a little more, consistency or whatever you want to call it. Kind of like the double oak that we were doing 3 weeks ago. So hopefully it gives it more oak flavor, so it makes it a little more that way, and then gives it a little more sweetness. And gives it a little more depth as far as dark chocolate type feel, and then I could see it being like a dark chocolate almond or something, hopefully. But we'll see.
You add a little flavor to that. I'd love to try that. Like we gotta figure out how to connect on that.
Well, I mean, when I'm done, I'll have a whole 1.75 liter full of the damn shit. So.
Got to get down Tennessee, man. I'll come pick it up. But yeah,
and I think instead of using the plastic top, I think I'm gonna put a cork on it.
Oh, look at you, fancy.
Well, I do have a bucket full of like used corks over here.
All right.
It actually came in handy once. I got this one bottle. And I pulled the cork off, and the cork just broke in half. And I'm like, oh, crap. And so I was like, well, I got these other corks. Whoop, and I put a Chattanooga 111 top on a Woodenville. Because
111?
They were the same size.
Again, that 111. God, that Chattanooga 111. We should do a review of the Chattanooga 111. That is...
I'd have to get. Actually, I think I have one more shot of it. Actually, I think I saved the shot.
Well, next week we're going to do Texas whiskey. I'm going to try to drive over a little 2-ounce bottle.
A shot. Okay.
A little 2-ounce bottle of the Treaty Oak, which is the Texas Jack Daniels, from what I understand.
I wouldn't go that far. I looked it up on distilleries, and it's only been around like 7 years.
True. But
it is supposedly like the first distillery in Texas or something.
So fair point. The actual
Go ahead.
Listen, I'm not a big fan of Texas whiskey, but the go-to is a 1-year aged day drinker version of Treaty Oak. I couldn't get that. So they have a 2-year aged in tandem with, are you ready? A band called Whiskey Myers. If anybody knows the band Whiskey Myers, phenomenal Texas band. So,
really?
You want to talk about Metallica and Jay-Z and Beyond, whoever we had
Whiskey
a couple weeks ago. Whiskey Myers has gotten with Treaty Oak, and they have a whiskey called Red Handed. I spent the extra money to buy it, and we're going to make sure that Mr. Fat Guy Little Sips is able to taste it. We're going to see how it goes. It's a 2-year age Texas, built in Texas, aged in Texas, delivered in Texas whiskey. So we'll hopefully be able to deliver that next week.
And I will say this, on our next episode of Celebrity or Not, I'm still going to say it's not a celebrity.
Whiskey Myers is a fantastic band. No. How can I remove you? How can I remove you from this call? Whiskey Myers is fantastic. They are the alternative Texas country whatever, man. You gotta live down here.
I feel you.
They got with Treaty Oak and they made a whiskey, and we're gonna try it out next week. So
2 years.
Yeah.
So it's a straight bourbon whiskey.
It's a straight bourbon. It's not aged 1 year like their day drinker whiskey. It's gonna be aged 2 years, in tandem with the Whiskey Meyer band. So
okay, perfect.
Listen, I've been saying for years Texas whiskey is horrible. So we're gonna let Mr. Fat Guy Little Sips tell us whether I'm right or wrong on a.
Well, I'll put it up against my Still Austin cask strength next week. And you know how I like it, but you don't. So
I can't even. No, not even. They're not even words to describe Still Austin. I don't even want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen the end of this movie. If you've bought in Still Austin and you've taken a sip, you know. So I'm not going to ruin it for you.
I hear you. No spoilers.
No spoilers. But a little Texas whiskey next week if we can get it to Mr. Fat Guy Little Sips next week. What do you say?
All right. Sounds good. We'll meet somewhere in the middle.
All
Is that it for the show, or you want to keep talking a little bit?
That's all we got.
All right, man. From my house to yours and to Hank's.
Hank Danger.
Peace out and love. Have a good weekend.
Toodaloo.
Deuces.